You want to go
So
high, you know what I mean?
I probably should have my team shirt on.
No, I mean it's good. That just doesn't define you, everything about you. You know, we just gonna talk a little bit. But I feel you. What you cook? Oh no shit. All right. Well, I ain't gonna hold you up. I'm gonna get right into this motherfucker. Is there anything that you cannot talk about? Because you got a job or whatever case may be?
Nah, not that I know of.
Right. I mean, I will edit it for you. You know, I'm not gonna be a jerk. Shout out to Sean P. And I got you. You got some arms. You show me. Can you flex? Anywho, we're gonna get back to this. All right, it is that serious. It's the Crack King podcast. Hold on. See, you know, I'm having issues with, you know, like trying to get this thing straight where they can see it. You know.
I see.
Would you wear that on the shirt or bonnet?
I like the colors. Yeah.
Okay, that's what's up.
I do.
All right, let's get into this shit. Yeah, I'm gonna get the words right. Can you see the word?
Yeah, I can see.
All right, there we go. Here we go. Let me get myself together so I look fly. All right, shit.
The Crack King podcast. A breath of fresh air with new kicks on. The Crack King podcast. A breath of fresh air with new kicks on.
All right, this is the Crack King from the Crack King podcast, and I got a special guest here in the building. WFA rising star of the Houston Energy. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the Crack Kings and Crack Queens out there.
My name is Najah. I go by Juno. I play for the Houston Energy. I'm a safety for the Houston Energy, the WFA league. And, you know, from Houston, Texas, and still gonna answer some of your questions.
You're from Houston, Texas. I see you're jumping the gun now. All right, let me do my job here. All right. Where are you from, and where do you live now?
I am from Houston, Texas. I live in Houston, Texas. In Houston.
Shout out to H-Town. I was just talking about H-Town on another podcast. I'm getting a lot of flack for it because I came here in the 90s.
You kind of grandfathered in at this point.
Don't you ever say that again. But I'll date my grandfather. Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that. It's all good. Since 94, yeah, I'll take that. I got all them, you know, I got a little sensitive. Because it was Father's Day, you know. Grandfather then, there we go. I got too sensitive on that. Because, you know, Father's Day just passed, and you can't expect grandkids to call you and be like, hey, happy Father's Day. They don't know how to use no fucking phone unless it's on the game or something, you know.
That is true. That is true.
Did you play any professional? Well, not professional. Did you play any high school sports? Sports in high school. Let me say that. I'm a little faded.
The first sport I played, period, my entire life, my mother didn't allow me to play anything when I was a kid. But the first sport I ever played was softball, and I was an outfielder. I played left field, and then I played a little bit of basketball. It wasn't exactly my sport. I was more of a defensive player. And then, but softball was my main sport until I got hurt in my 11th grade year. That was my thing. Really enjoyed that, but from 11th grade on to a few years ago, I didn't do anything really active.
You played softball. I said, was there any steroid use while you were in high school with the softball class?
You said, was there any what kind of steroid use? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Yes, words. You know,
not that
I mean, you never heard of what do you call it? The shit that Barry Bonds and them use.
You know, I know out there some stuff, but our high school wasn't like that. We weren't known for softball. We were more of a football kind of school. So baseball and softball weren't our calling cards for anybody to even be taking it that far. You know, it wasn't. So no, I don't think so. If it was, then that's their business, but nothing that I knew of. So
would you say that was the only sport your mother would let you play, or she wouldn't let you play?
She wouldn't let me play at all until I was in ninth grade, and she finally let me play softball. I'm just so happy. I really enjoyed softball. That's even to this day. You know, I go watch me some baseball real quick.
So, did in high school? Did you play football in high school? You didn't play any football in high school.
No, I had a teammate of mine that actually asked me to go try out, but like I said, our football team were really serious. They went to I think the semifinals our junior or sophomore year.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't about to go out there with some 6'5" dudes that can pick me up and carry me around like a baby. I'm just not.
I get what you said. Well, it wasn't as diverse because I mean, you see some high schools that are division
now
A and A.
Yeah.
Now, at the time, it wasn't as diverse.
No.
Gotcha.
And I was gonna be the one to go out there and try to diversify it. I was.
You weren't gonna be Barbara Jordan with that shit?
No. They had it. They had it.
I feel you. What sparked the bug in you that you wanted to play in the WFA?
So originally, so for if you want the full scheme things, I told you I love softball. I still have my baseball glove that I had, my softball glove that I had back when I first started. So it was always something I wanted to get back into, and so I originally was looking for a softball team to get onto, to play in my spare time. But everything had kind of closed up, all the registrations and stuff, everything had just kind of ended, and so I was like, dang. And then I just something on a whim Googled women's football.
Mm-hmm.
Just on a whim, I Googled it, and the first team that popped up was the Houston Energy. And so I'm looking, I kind of read into the team, and I went ahead and I think that they had just had a tryout. I think that November, and it was probably early December at this point. And so I'm like, dang, I missed the tryouts, but it was a registration form, so I went ahead and still filled it out, sent it out, right? And I think later on, probably a week or so later, I got a text message saying, "Hey, we're having another tryout for the team, January 13th. Getting out information." So I went ahead and I just started working out from that point. Got one of my brothers to kind of help push me a little bit since he's a football fanatic. Really, my whole family is. I helped one of my brothers really push me, and
how many siblings do you have?
How many brothers do I have?
You have siblings. How many siblings do you have?
Siblings. I have a lot of siblings, but I have really close to me. I have 3 brothers that I'm very close to.
Okay, I get it. So you tried out. Was it harder to get back into shape from high school?
Well, no. Actually, my rookie season, I didn't even get into the best shape. I was in much better shape then than I am now. I guess I could say that. But because of necessity, I was kind of forced to get in shape because my rookie season, the DBs were not deep at all. My rookie season, I played 100% of the snaps every single game. Except for one game I did miss. I missed one game, but that was for medical reasons.
Okay.
So it was different. It was definitely, I had never really exerted that much energy into a sport. It was very much so different than basketball practice that I remember. When you can think about a sport that you're running around and constantly. Basketball, I feel like we'll do them suicides, we'll do them down and backs, and that'll be it. But football was just go.
And contact. It's fully contact.
Yeah, and so even before we got to the contact part of it,
you
took down
training camp
to build you up. Yeah, training camp is where it's really like, damn, do I even want to go to practice today because I know I'm gonna get my ass kicked, And it was one of them things where if you weren't working outside of practice, it was gonna show at practice because you were gonna be dying. You were gonna be exhausted. You were gonna be shaking everything. Like, it was just terrible.
This goes into my next question. What motivates you to get up and go to practice and get on the field after you have your own life going on prior to that?
Yeah. Yeah, because you know we're not getting paid to do this stuff. We got jobs, full-time jobs. Some of us school and things like that. On top of that,
Yeah.
but it's honestly the love of the game, and it's the love of your teammates also. You know, the respect of your teammates. You know,
Yeah.
I love football, man. I've loved football since I was a little kid. That was one of the ways I bonded with my brothers. So,
Okay.
I had a brother that played Pee Wee. He only a year older than me. He played, Pop Warner, and I was at every practice with him, every game. It was faithful, So it's like I grew up watching the game and wanting to play, but I never had the chance to. So when I had the chance to, I gave it my all. I did.
Okay, when you're talking about your brothers, so what kind of child were you with your brothers? What, are you older or are you the youngest?
I was the youngest, so it was one of those kind of keep up. You
Okay.
want to hang with us, you want to roll with us, And my two oldest brothers are 9 and 7 years older than me, so of course I wasn't everywhere with them, but
Yeah.
a lot of times I was rolling with them. And then my brother, that's only a year older than me, we did a lot of things together in our adolescence and things like that, on into high school. So, but as a little kid, I was real rough. I wasn't the little girl that was inside playing with Barbie dolls and stuff like that. I went to go outside, play kickball, play football, and all that stuff with the boys, with the neighborhood kids. I wanted to go out there and have fun. I had absolutely no enjoyment of staying inside and playing with toys. That just wasn't it. That wasn't our generation back then anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was an outside kid. We was bad.
Yeah, we want to be
I
outside
grew up in
punching
the
and
inner city,
spitting and shit.
so we went out there
This is the Crack King Podcast.
kind of
A
yeah,
breath of fresh air with New Kicks
a
on.
little bit. A little bit of that going on. It's true.
Yeah. So,
King Podcast.
what
Breath of fresh air with New Kicks.
what is something like when they hear that you play professional ball? What are some of the misconceptions or what is misunderstood about you when someone hears that?
First, they think I play for the lingerie league. They like, oh, your ass out, and I'm just like,
Breath of fresh
no.
air with New Kicks.
Whoa.
Oh, y'all out there with your titties out? I'm just like, no, you're out there full pads, full contact, knocking each other out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so from there, people just kind of assume that I'm tough, and I remember my last job, one of my bosses, she would be like, oh, I know you're mean. And I'm just like, okay, sure, but that's the main thing. It's not really, probably the biggest thing that I've heard is that, oh, you play with a whole bunch of butch females, don't you? And I'm just like, you would be surprised how many feminine females are out there really playing football. And when I say feminine, lashes done, hair done, nails done, everything. Them on the field and them off the field are two totally different people.
Because I mean, it's a sport. You just out there to play. It has nothing to do with race or gender or whatever preference. However you want to say it, PC. So you're just out there for the love of the game, and I get that. Let's get into a couple of things I want to talk about. Are you familiar with Kevin Samuels?
Yeah. I think I know that name.
Okay. So, you think you know that name? It's the guy, what is he, like a consultant? He's a YouTuber. I feel like he's a YouTuber, I don't know what he is professionally, but he's on YouTube. And he be giving out a lot of advice to ladies. For me, I seem like a swing or shift in, I want to say, the black community when it comes to relationship. How now it's like you have to be so super fucking tough, and you have to be so guarded not to get played for your money or whatever, your time, How do you feel about people on YouTube blowing up off of like relationship advice? Like,
everybody's entitled to their own opinion. We live in
and they're not even in a relationship.
We want to say all day. And then, so you can say what you want to say about things, but if that woman values herself as a dime, who are you to degrade her? You know, she says, no, I don't have a degree. Yes, I only make $40,000 a year. Yes, I have 2 kids. And yes, I'm 35 years old, but I still want a man that makes $80,000 a year and this, and this. Who are you to tell her that she can't aspire to those things or she can't get that? You know, my mother
Because
married
I
a
want to
man
make
with 3
$80,000
kids, and
a
he
year.
took care of us. That's great. But you know, there are really great men out there. There are really great men out there that'll, you know, what she brings to the table won't necessarily be things that are on paper. You know, you can't say, oh, because you're 5'2" and you weigh 180 pounds, who would want you? You know, there are men that will want her for who she is. You know.
During the pandemic, how long were y'all out not playing?
2019 going into 2020 was when, because our season normally starts around April. Towards the end of 2019, I was ramping up to go to school, and the nights that I was going to be going to school were the nights that I would be playing. So I already contacted my coach and said, "Hey, I won't be able to play this season. I'm trying to, go back to school or whatever." And he gave me blessings and all that fun stuff. And that was that. So I wasn't going to play in 2020, but they made it up until maybe March when they canceled everything out for them. March of 2020 when they canceled everything out for them. February or March. I think one of the first tryouts I remember seeing again for this season that we're currently in was in October of 2020. And that's when I went back. That's when I went ahead and went back in and started getting back to work. So, that takes a good smooth 6 months or so off, but I was off a little bit longer than everybody else because.
What does playing the professional sport do to your body as a woman? And do you identify as a woman?
I do. I'm a she.
Okay. I'm just saying, I don't want to offend.
Of course.
I don't want to offend. The Crack King doesn't want to offend anyone.
Very good. But just as a female, we have a different set of circumstances that we deal with. So you just have to prepare yourself for the best that you can when it comes around that time. If you have games, you have practices. But you know the game of football. Every play you get banged up some kind of way.
Oh yeah.
It's just you just kind of got to check it out. After every game, I come out with a bruise. I come out with a swollen something. It just is what it is. You go out there, you play your snaps, you give it all that you can out on that field, and you just hope you don't get too banged up to not be able to go to work the next day. Because ultimately, you need to go to work the next day.
Has there ever been a time where you played the night before and couldn't go to work the next day?
Yeah, I did. I had got a real bad toe issue. I ran into a pile of some big people, and I got my toe stepped on real bad. And I worked. The linemen, man. I'm a little person on the field. The linemen's a big man. So I ran into a pile, and I got stepped on by somebody much bigger than me, and it messed my toe up. And I've also had a concussion, but I actually went to work on the concussion.
Oh my gosh, you had a concussion.
Yeah, that's
You got your bell rung?
That's how you know whether or not you're gonna come back and play until you get that bell.
Let's get into one more thing I want to talk about. Have you heard about Dame Dash and Jay-Z arguing about old records and how much they're gonna sell them to each other for?
Dame Dash and Jay-Z have had some beef for a while, going back some years though, right?
I never thought of it as beef. I just thought of it as like
they just didn't deal with each other no more like that.
They was like, all right, man, we ain't gonna make no money together no more. But it's almost like two uncles selling the last QP or the good shit. Like, man, give me this, man. I don't want to give you that, man. Like, what's up with that shit?
I think ultimately they both put a lot into that. Of course, Jay-Z is the name a majority of people know. But I think they ought to just split that down a little and do what they need to do.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Go shit, do what you gonna do. It's just, it's because like you say, it's old records. It's 20 years ago. You know, even older than that. So, you know, so it's just like, bro, y'all really gonna argue about this? Jay-Z is almost a billionaire, certified by himself. So it's just like,
yes.
Why you even worried about all that stuff?
Why even worry about that? You know what? I wanted to take this time out to bash this store called Money Money on Shepherd. I walked in there to buy a pair of Jordan 11 Lows reverse breads. I'm not gonna say what I was gonna spend, but you get the drift. Walk in there, I'm waiting to be helped. I am not helped. People are just kind of just standing around, not helping nobody, just ignoring me. So I just wanted to say, don't shop at Money Money on Shepherd, because they're gonna treat you like shit. And I was like, is that how you treat customers or how you do customer service? Like, I don't want to blame it on their nationality, but it was quite rude.
May I just say I speak on my part when it comes to the Blue Lives. I don't believe that all cops are bad. I don't believe that all are racist. I've had some pleasant experiences with cops, and I've had some not so pleasant experiences with cops. Less pleasant experiences. But I am also a firm believer in one bad apple bunch and hold people accountable for their actions. That's my thing. If you see your fellow officer over there doing some shady stuff that you know gonna get everybody in trouble, tell them, hey, bro, don't do that. Don't do that. And when they come at you about it, tell the truth. Tell the truth. Be like, yeah, he's over there kicking him in the head. He shouldn't have been doing that. I'll tell him to stop. You know, yeah, he's doing that. He shouldn't have been doing it. You know, that's my thing, because as a child, your parents teach you to be accountable for your actions. And so once they get this gun and this badge, why shouldn't they be accountable for their actions? Especially when they're taking lives or altering people's lives forever.
Yes.
They should be held accountable. That's my only take on that. I won't. I'm not bashing nobody, but they got to be held accountable for their actions.
Absolutely correct. The crack king agrees with you. Do you believe in the afterlife? No. No, I don't. Okay. That's fine.
I was raised a Jehovah's Witness. I believe once you pass away. Yeah, I believe once you pass away, you're taking that long sleep, that long rest until you call to come on back up.
That is very interesting. I'd like for you to come back and we can talk about I don't want to speak out of turn. The religion Jehovah's Witness, is that how you speak on it?
Yeah, Jehovah's Witness.
Okay. This is the Cracking Podcast, and I want to thank Amazing for coming out and sharing her story with me about her rise and her pending rise to fame in the WFA.
Yeah, we still work.
And every day stronger. Stay off the roads. Let them know where they can find you at. Where they can check out your content, check you out, see you play the game, see you go out there and smash some motherfucking heads.
For any information on our team, you can always look us up on Instagram, Houston Energy Football. So Facebook, Houston Energy Football. You can find me on Instagram at Najah The Great. You can find me on Facebook at JUNOKNOW, JUNOKNOW. You can check me out. I'm always selling tickets. I'm always letting you know what's going on with the game. And I'm a little bit of a fool on Facebook.
Really?
Yeah, like she being so nosy.
She wants to talk about this was PG. You ain't get into no shit.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
That's the next one. We'll get into the shits. You feel me?
Yeah, we can do that too.
Alright.
This is the Crack King Podcast. A breath of fresh air. This is the Crack King Podcast.